Welcome to Southeast Sports Net. Hi, I'm Joey McWilliams, and joining me on the summit today is Will Lowrey, the athletic director at Blue Mountain College, in his third season as the AD there. And Mr. Lowrey, I just have to tell you, there's a lot going on. This time of year, I know, is a big time of year, no matter what. And granted, in 2021, it is what it is. But this is crossover season anyway. Have a lot of basketball going on. Talk about what's happening at Blue Mountain.
Well, you mentioned basketball, but last night we had our first ever volleyball game on campus. We've been playing out at the Ripley gym and been very thankful for them to help us get off the ground. But we finally got transitioned and we pulled off a win last night. Talking about basketball, our men, and jumping straight into COVID. How long can you get into an interview without talking about COVID? But our men were supposed to play Loyola this weekend. Coach Bingham and Coach Denio, both of them have tested positive for COVID. So we've canceled that game. Our women's basketball team have had their share of cancellations. They play this weekend. Hopefully they're over the hump. And then baseball, softball, as I mentioned, volleyball, we're going in and especially in NAI sports, we have our club sports. We got powerlifting, we've got bass fishing, we've got archery. Can I go on? Golf. It's just February is absolutely our toughest month.
I can imagine. And for Brett Fowler, who keeps up with all this as a sports information director, props to him. I have a lot of respect for the SIDs around the country who do all this. And yes, volleyball, the win over Dillard last night. So props to that volleyball team as well. That's a big deal. If you didn't have enough going on in February, well, guess what? You have a lot going on your plate anyway. You are the president and the founder of an organization called Bigger Than Ball. It's a really cool name in and of itself. Talk about what that is and what you all do with that.
Well, the name came from just a natural occurrence of me using the term. 10 years ago, my wife had a double lung transplant, and that was about 1 month before I was supposed to coach my first baseball game at Tupelo Christian Prep. And so needless to say, I was a bigger than ball coach right out of the gate. And so that entire year we talked about with our players that everything that we do is bigger than ball. Mm-hmm. So 4 years ago, my wife dropped to 20% lung function. And when that happened, that really put a tailspin on everything for me. And I did a 40-day fast. I really wanted to reach out and see what God wanted for my life and from the guidance. And I felt like I'd wasted an opportunity with 6 years of my wife having a second chance and facing this adversity. Really a beautiful thing came out of it. The Bigger Than Ball Foundation, basically it is a networking opportunity for all sports, all levels. It doesn't matter if you're a little league coach, if you're in pro ball or college or high school. We want everyone to get together, and we typically think of coaching clinics. Whenever I remember I invited Coach Mike Bianco in to speak, and he jumped on board. And then about a month before, he said, "Will, what do you want me to talk about?" I said, "Coach, anything but baseball." He goes, "Oh." So we are building a 5,000 square foot facility just west of Tupelo, and that is going to be used to bring in coaches from all across the nation. We will be able to house. We're going to have 6 bedrooms in there. We're going to be overlooking a 100-acre lake, and we hope that this is going to be the first one of many across the nation. We actually have one out east, north, and west as well. But it's pretty exciting time, and we feel like God is all in it.
That sounds really cool. I look forward to seeing this as it grows. We're speaking now with Will Lowrey, who's the athletic director at Blue Mountain College, and of course, we're talking about Bigger Than Ball as well. Please do consider subscribing to the channel. Also, Southeast Sports Net, we would appreciate that, and like and share these videos as we get to talk with really awesome people like Will Lowrey here. And I saw on your website about the Bigger Than Ball organization and learning more about that you all have made a partnership with another great organization as well, 8 Days of Hope.
Yeah, I got chills when you said it. I just relive the relationship I have with the CEO, Steve Tybur. I call him CEO, but I call him friend. I actually had the opportunity to coach his son and develop a relationship with him. And I've watched 8 Days of Hope since Hurricane Katrina. And every year, and I've watched how God moved within that organization. And when God laid it on my heart to begin the Bigger Than Ball Foundation, I was trying to figure out, what can we do? Who can we serve? And I thought it was such a natural thing for us to partner with 8 Days of Hope. We went to Houston after the hurricane out there and did a free clinic. And we had, I think it was probably 200 kids that came out to the clinic. And the point of that is while they were rebuilding, 8 Days of Hope comes in and rebuilds after a hurricane or a natural disaster, tornado or whatever the case is. And it just with the name, they give hope to people. So, we drove out there. This was the infancy of the relationship, but I kept thinking, I'm not doing enough. But I tell you, I was blessed probably more than those kids were, just to give them a distraction from what was going on and to see God move. I'll tell a quick story about that. I drove out there with a trailer full of sporting goods that had been donated. I had no idea who that I was going to give them to. And when a guy came up to me and he said, this is great what you guys are doing for this sports complex. Ours is still underwater. And I don't know how we're going to play. We've lost all of our equipment. And I just stopped in my tracks. If God had ever slapped me in the face, he slapped me in the face that day. I walked him back to the trailer and I opened it up and I said, brother, it's all yours. And he started crying. I started crying. It was an amazing thing. So now we just partner with 8 Days of Hope. Wherever they go, we commit to following them and going and trying to recreate the same experience as much as we can.
I understand. Now let me clarify, because I think this is really neat. So the 8 Days of Hope organization, they're rebuilding. Yes. You're taking care of all of these kids and athletes, potential athletes, maybe not even athletes. You're taking care of these kids and all of this, giving them something else to think about during this time, taking their mind off the tragedy and blessing them through that.
Yeah. And also we're carrying coaches out there.
Yeah.
And we give coaches an opportunity to be a part of that. And I'm telling you, the kids get the blessing, but they don't really know what's going on. The coaches are the ones that walk away. And when you walk away, if you don't feel like it's bigger than ball, you missed it. Because it really, and that is such an infectious feeling. We all go through that in sports, sometimes through tragedy, sometimes through other things where you could win a championship and all of a sudden you feel the moment is much bigger. But that is what we're really about, grabbing those moments. I'll steal a quote from Dabo Swinney a couple years ago in the national championship game when he said, we're really focusing on these guys, that making sure that the light that shines in them be brighter than the light that shines on them. We're trying to capture that message. We're grabbing guys like Dabo and other coaches. I got a chance to meet with Duke baseball's coaches. And as soon as the beautiful thing about this foundation is it's easy to get across the table because they want this platform. We're trying to give those guys the platform to speak about these things. There's so many bigger than ball coaches in all sports, all levels across the nation. And we just think that it's a natural thing for us all to come together.
Well, it sounds like it's something really special, and I'm so thankful to have an opportunity to speak with you about it today. It means a lot to me. It gives me chills too to get to talk about that, to be a blessing. And like I was hearing you say in some videos that even I had a chance to watch about loving and serving. And you need to get out and you need to love and you need to serve. And we need to be doing just that. Well, as we wrap up our time together on this episode of the Summit, going back to Blue Mountain, of course, volleyball with a big, that's a highlight win. That's a milestone win, getting that first one on campus like that. You have soccer coming in 21, 22. Yes. So some new sports there. And you talked about that. It's a huge crossover season anyway, because February, as you mentioned, February is always just a big time of year. And it's a fun time for folks like me. I love broadcasting and being a part of it and covering it, but I know it can be a little hectic. In 2021, has this just been magnified? Because you have some fall sports going on in the spring, and some colleges have more than others than that. It seems like everything's happening right now.
Yeah, it is. And plus, we talk about volleyball. Volleyball is not normally a spring sport.
Right.
And so it's magnified right now for sure, because we're not used to and also if you think about a smaller college like Blue Mountain College, the staff, the department, just to have the appropriate amount of people to have the game day operations as it should be. And kudos, let me go back to Brett Fowler. Man, what a job. I mean, you talking about loving and serving. He does it with such a service heart, and all of our student athletes notice it. Our coaches notice it. There's never anything that you can ever ask of him that he doesn't jump on before you finish the sentence. And thankfully we're going to be hiring him some help for next year. I was part of the deal with bringing in soccer, and Dr. McMillan was all on board. I just said, look, we're wearing this guy out. We can't lose this. So, yeah.
No, you don't want to lose somebody good like that by any stretch of the imagination. Well, Will Lowrey, the athletic director at Blue Mountain College, thank you so much for taking some time for us today. We want to follow, and we will be following Bigger Than Ball, and we will continue to promote for you all. And we look forward to getting to hear more about what you all are doing, loving and serving, sharing Jesus with so many other people in so many other ways. So success to you and to the program this season. And thanks again for stopping by.
Thank you. If you don't mind, I'm going to jump in and plug 8 Days of Hope again. That loving and serving really came from the language with Steve Tyber, and the beautiful thing about 8 Days of Hope is we live in a day where we have an opportunity to Zoom and speak to each other and hear speeches. But our young people, with instant information at their fingertips, always with social media, sometimes they tune messages out. What I loved about 8 Days of Hope, and what we wanted to be a part of, and what I think your audience would love to hear and love to see more of, is 8 Days of Hope. They were out to be the hands and feet of Jesus. It was the gospel in action. And that, to me, made a huge impact. And I think everybody that is involved with 8 Days of Hope and organizations like Bigger Than Ball, when they get a feeling of what the impact that you can have. 8 Days of Hope had 5,000 volunteers from every state in Houston.
Man.
And so I just want to leave you with that.
That is huge.
There is nothing that is impossible when the gospel is present. And so thank you for your platform. Thank you for what you're doing and your faith. I've only known you just for a little bit, but it exudes out of you. And so thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you.